Now this, the president appears to confuse NATO with Ukraine as he calls for Congress to pass the funding bill. Take a look at this.
The idea that we're going to walk away from Ukraine, the idea that we're going to let NATO begin to split is totally against the interests of the United States of America, and it is against our word we've given since all the way back to Eisenhower. So it's about time we make sure that Congress come home and pass the legislation funding NATO. It's critical. Our security depends on it.
Yeah, it's confusion and mumbling a bit, isn't it? Charlie Hurt joins me now. Charlie, the president spent his entire weekend at home in Delaware, still getting confused. He comes back to the White House today, nothing on the schedule. Shouldn't that be raising, continued questions about his mental fitness and physical fitness, for that matter?
Oh, yeah. No, and I think it really is. Obviously, if I take a weekend at the beach, I would hope to come back with a clear head. But that does not seem to be the case with this guy. And we are seeing it obviously raise alarms in even among Democrats who are starting to seriously worry about his cognitive abilities, because it's not going to get any better. It's bad as it is now. And then when you have situations like this where, and I think you kind of knew what he was talking about there, but it's a reminder that he really he is not thinking clearly these days, and there's no reason to believe it's going to get any better as we go forward.
It's no wonder they try to protect him.
Yeah.
House Republicans, of course, are pushing for Biden to take a cognitive test. Should he?
The whole thing about a cognitive test, I think, it's a great political issue, and I think that he should. And I loved it when Donald Trump took a cognitive test, mainly because it was hilarious. But the whole idea, this whole idea that we're going to come up with new tests for presidents or politicians, I get a little squeamish about that, because the only test that matters is a free and fair election. And if we have free and fair elections, then we can pick our leaders just fine.
You mentioned earlier that even Democrats now are starting to raise doubts about Biden and his ability to even fulfill a second term if it comes to that. At first they said he's perfectly fine and lucid and, dynamic. Now they say, well, it's just Republicans trying to use it as a crutch. Now they're relying on the strategy, apparently, of Trump getting into legal problems that will eventually prevent him from beating Biden. I mean, the expectations have gone down considerably. Donors are wondering, Democrat donors are wondering, where the heck is my money going? I mean, there's definitely a change of, I guess, sentiment among Democrats, and you can feel it almost daily.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it kind of comes and goes in waves, but it is definitely going in a certain direction. And we're going to have more really bad episodes like we had with that press conference where he, came out to declare that he was mentally fit to stand trial for his documents case, and then manages to put Mexico in the Middle East, which was very strange. But they're those episodes are getting more common, and they're only going to get worse. He's not getting better. And it's shocking, Ash, if you go back and you look at video of him, even just 3 years ago or 2 years ago, the amount of decay that has occurred. Obviously the presidency is a very demanding, taxing job, and it has really taken its toll on him. And he is, and a lot of us didn't think he was altogether with it 2 years ago, but he's a lot less with it now.
And very quickly, he's going to have to debate at some time. If it's Trump or whoever is the Republican nominee, I mean, I can't imagine him going, honestly, toe-to-toe with Trump in a debate. That could get very, very ugly.
Yeah, and I think even Democrats realize that. And even though some people try to bring up Donald Trump's age and try to make a comparison between the two, the comparisons don't work between the two. People can watch them, and especially if you saw them side by side on a debate stage, it's clearly evident that one of them is still with it and the other is not.
Yeah, I think that says it all in a nutshell. Charlie, thank you so much.
Great
Charlie Hurt on this Monday. Great to see you too on President's Day.